Hey gang, I'm back. I know I made that last video about complaining about Google Plus or whatever, but I made that video on the week of thrift store cameras, and I back then I said my next video was going to be what I'm going to depict right here, right now, about how to clean and kind of detail classic film cameras. Now, I was kind of debating whether I should call this a how to do it, because, to be a disclaimer, I am not like a camera technician. I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to use like some disclaimer kind of terms here, because I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if you want to follow what I'm doing, how bad the camera you're working on is, or cameras or whatever. But this is what I've done, and I've had excellent results. But I'm going to use some disclaimers. I'm going to use some terms like at your own risk, because sometimes detailing can be like either just a light cleaning with maybe one little kind of solution, or you can literally scrub something to get like crap off of it. But when you're dealing with something like a precision instrument, like a classic film camera, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually do more harm than good. In fact, you could actually ruin components of a camera. So I'm gonna just kind of, and I've actually kind of finished a couple of these cameras of the cleaning and detailing part. Now, kind of an update from that video about the week of thrift store cameras. The two cameras I'm going to kind of show you in detail. At first I thought that the light seals were still good and intact. Well, in retrospect, when you're talking about some cameras, these cameras that are like over 30 years old, after I've opened and closed them a few times, I found that yes, the light seals were actually deteriorated, and they were actually shot. In fact, some of the material would actually stick when you open the doors. The backs of them up, the material would come off and stick to the door. So in retrospect, I'm going to have to replace the light seals, which I kind of thought I would have to do all along anyway. And it can be kind of an involved thing. In fact, in my case, I have never done that before, but I've done a lot of research, and I've actually ordered some kits of pre-cut pieces of the same kind of foam materials that the manufacturers use for light seals. Now, there's also other materials and methods you can use if you do any research on the net on redoing light seals on these classic film cameras. You can use things like wool thread of a certain gauge, cotton yarn, velvet tape, I think they call it, for like the door hinge seals and things like that. But I'm not going to get in much detail about that, because that's more like a separate video, which I may or may not make. But in these two cameras I'm going to show you, I pretty much finished the cleaning and detailing stuff, and I'm going to just kind of quick walk you through the things I've used. I have them on the table here, and what I've done. I'm kind of give you a quick dry run. As far as doing this work, if you've never done it, I would very strongly suggest, I don't know who's watching this video, I don't know what your situation is, but this is something that really must be done in a secluded room. You don't want to be doing this while you have kids or pets running around. Like, you don't want your cat or whatever jumping on the table as you're doing this. You don't want kids distracting you. Like I said, this is kind of like precision work on a precision instruments here. But like I said, I've had excellent results. I've done this before several times. So I'll just show you quick what materials we're going to be working with here. Okay, you can see this stuff I have. Everything you see on the table is stuff I've used, although some things you may not have to use, or I may recommend that you do not attempt to use, depending on how old your camera is and what the composition of the components are, like the outside is. But anyway, I recommend strongly have a light, something like this, or something maybe even better with like a magnifier, so you can look at detail. For your optics and your lenses, I got this like a microfiber cloth and some lens cleaner. You want something that's actually meant for photographic lenses. You do not, and I repeat, do not use something that looks similar to this that you would clean, like say your eyeglasses. That is something totally different, and you may do some damage actually to your lens coatings or whatever. You got a simple kind of blower with a fine camel hair brush, a pencil eraser, and I'll kind of demonstrate what I use that for. These pencil erasers on a fine camel hair brush, an old toothbrush, not one that you've actually used on your teeth. You could buy one for separately for using, or an old one, whatever, it doesn't matter. I use, in almost every case I use something like this, white vinegar. It's a very safe kind of light solvent. It's doesn't do any harm to any kind of plastic components or whatever. And this is something these two things I would say use at your own risk. I got two kinds of like metal polish if you want to polish or need to polish any kind of metal components on the inside and outside of a camera. Another thing I would strongly say use at your own risk is something like Armor All, and you can use that to kind of rejuvenate the leather or leatherette body coverings of your camera. But like I said, you have to use it very sparingly. If you don't know what you're doing, you could like get too much. You don't want to get anything into your camera. And I've actually used something like this. I had like stickers and things that I wanted to remove from outside of lenses. I use this dissolve it stuff. But this is another thing that I'd say use at your own risk. And for all around putting solutions, I use this. It's a stainless steel bowl. It's like a pet bowl, you know. But I only use it for putting anything from just some water and a drop of dish detergent to, you know, other kinds of chemicals or whatever, and then you can just dip whatever implement like your toothbrush or whatever into there and apply whatever you want to the camera. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you real quick, and this is another thing that I would say use sparingly and at your own risk. You can use some of the, you know, you use this in your computer or whatever, keyboard a lot. You can use some of this canned air. I mostly use it for cleaning, you know, a quick blast or whatever at a distance to clean maybe your lenses or whatever. If you have a camera like especially the Pentax, which I'll show secondly. I'm showing the Nikon first, but it's nice to kind of loosen up some dirt or whatever out of crevices. But like I said, if you're working on a body, which I would say work on the body with a body cap. If I would highly recommend it. You don't want to work on one with a lens on it, with a SLR, because you're going to be like. What I've done, I've actually kind of like scrubbed with a toothbrush to begin with, and I don't want to get water or whatever in the lens or whatever, even if the lens caps are on, which they should be. But better yet, I work on something like this a body with the body cap. But that's what I would start with. I started with that, and I done it carefully, especially in some of these crevices or whatever. I've done that, and I've opened up. Like I said, you must be very, very careful when you do this, but you can, maybe a couple blasts or whatever, you can get junk, and I've succeeded in this. I've had like specks of stuff on the mirror and on the focusing screen, and those are two things that you never, ever, ever want to physically touch or have any chemicals or whatever get on, because you can potentially damage them permanently. In the last video I mentioned something about when I found this camera at the thrift store. It didn't have a body cap on, and what I know is someone else had probably handled this camera or examined it, and maybe they or someone else had actually put a fingerprint in the corner of this mirror, and I noticed it. And now some people will say, oh, don't try to even rub it off, but I very, very carefully took a microfiber cloth, like a lens cloth, and I was able to gently remove it. So like I said, this is something you can or cannot or should not do. It's up to you. I'm kind of like a perfectionist. I couldn't stand the sight of that fingerprint on that mirror, so I think I'm pretty safe. I removed it with that damp cloth that was dampened with my little liquid lens cleaner there. So I'm going to put the cover back on, and like I said, these are basically done, except for now I'm going to have to do the lens, or not the lens, I'm sorry, the light seals on these two cameras. But like I said, if I've used the canned air or whatever, then in both of these cases, I actually took something as simple as just some warm water and like a drop of like Dawn or any kind of like dish detergent, and I literally took my little toothbrush and I kind of like gently kind of scrubbed all the leatherette or whatever, and I kind of scrubbed like some of these crevices and things like that. And then I dried that off right away, because I mean sometimes you're talking like 30 years of these things being handled, and you don't realize how clean something can look after you've actually started cleaning it. But that's for like the leatherette. I actually, in retrospect, I really should say the first thing I would usually do after the dusting off is I would take cotton swabs, and you can get these obviously very cheaply, and you don't have to be stingy. I mean, you can use as many of these as you want. And I would take my white vinegar and I'd pour it into the bowl, and then I would like gently I'd go over all the bright work here, trying to get stuff out of every crevice and stuff like that. You just go over all that stuff. A lot of dirt likes to like nest in that, and like in the case, another thing too, don't forget to like well, in this case I have to lift this thing up here. Like your spindle there, you want to lift that up and you want to clean around there. Stuff that doesn't usually, I mean, you'd be surprised at how much grime and dirt sometimes. If a camera hasn't been well cared for that you found, dirt likes to like get in there. You want to remove that, so you don't want to like get that into the mechanism and cause things to get sticky or whatever. But that's usually the next thing I would do. After that, I usually and this is something, like I said, use at your own risk, because a good thing you should do too is find out how old your camera is, find out the composition of all the materials, because I say it because newer cameras that look like this, some of these, like the outer plates. This may or may not be metal, or it may be metal, or it may be plastic that is like plated with like a powdered, kind of a powdered metal. So you may or may not want to use some kind of polish. You know, if you have something that has like stains or something like that, if you know your camera is like your cap, all your bright stuff on here, if it's actual metal, plated metal, you're pretty safe if you want to like polish it up. But like some later cameras, they look bright, they have this bright pieces on here, but they might actually really be just plated plastic. So as a disclaimer, I'd say, you know, if in doubt, don't try to like polish something and you find out you might do some damage or whatever. And I think I'm pretty safe with these two cameras. These were from like the late 70s to early 80s vintage. So that's what I ended up doing with that. As you can see, I think, you know, especially with this Nikon, this turned out in excellent shape. It didn't have any like scratches or anything. So that turned out pretty well, I'd say. So then after you do that, I would say, then that's when, and this is another thing, if you want, like I said, if you want things to look really nice and rejuvenated, you can use some of this at your own risk, which is the Armor All for like rejuvenating the whatever, if that's like leatherette or plastic or whatever. A lot of times some of these older cameras, especially the Pentax I'll show you, was really bad. The leatherette covering was really dried out and dull looking, and you could either apply that stuff carefully with like I said, with your swabs, or what I did, but I would not recommend this if you're doing it for the first time. I actually kind of sprayed some in the bowl, and then kind of like gently picked some up with the toothbrush, and I kind of like applied it on and kind of like worked it in with this toothbrush. And then I would just let it sit for a while, let the chemicals of the Armor All kind of do its job of kind of rejuvenating and moisturizing the covering there, and I seem to get like really excellent results. And then if there's any excess, you know, after maybe a half hour or whatever, you can just gently wipe it off. But I would not recommend that if your light seals are already good, because I don't know if that chemical, if it gets in, will like affect those little foam light seals. So that I'm saying this up front because like I said, I don't want you to ruin something that's already good on your camera. But like I said, in these two, the light seals were already bad and falling apart, so I knew I'd eventually have to fix that anyway, and that I could do as much as I wanted with the outside and not have to worry about the light seals being affected because they were already bad, and I'm going to replace them later. But with this Pentax was really in horrible condition. If you saw that thrift store video where I showed the case on the back, I didn't really show the back of the case, but it had a kind of like a little decal or sticker about that it was in the Bahamas or something. So I don't know if this camera was owned by someone who lived in the Bahamas. So you're talking about a tropical climate with, you know, and we know how moisture or whatever can affect things like a camera. You don't want fungus or mold growing, and luckily I did not have that problem. In fact, I'll take the cap off of here. And like I said, the mirror was good. The focusing screen is good. It's just that the seals are going to need replacing, like the foam bumper that the mirror will hit when it swings up for an exposure. That was kind of like deteriorating because I kind of like samply touched my finger to that to see if it would spring back, and it wasn't. So you can see how something like that is going to deteriorate. And like I said, another thing, sometimes you see specks in your viewfinder when you're like focusing with a lens. some gentle, and I must repeat, gentle use of your air here, you usually can remove that. You never ever want to touch that with even a cloth or anything, the focusing screen or the mirror, if you can help it. You just if you need to like dust something out, you must use like the air, the canned air, like that. So, and I've had some excellent results with that. There were some specks or whatever in the viewfinder when I was checking this out, and I actually removed them. Now I have a nice clean focusing frame or whatever. Another thing here too on this one especially, the viewfinder eyepiece there was really dirty, and you can use like your canned air to initially kind of get a lot of that off, that dust or dirt off, and then you can follow that up with something like this, and you just kind of gently brush stuff off. You don't want to obviously scratch anything. I don't know if these eyepieces are glass or if they're plastic in this case. But that's what I did, and then after that, it's still going to be dirty. You would take your lens cleaner and your microfiber cloth, and you want to kind of gently kind of like remove some of that, and a lot of times even in the corners you can't get everything, so you can even take like a swab like this with your lens, dampen it with lens cleaner, and kind of work around the corners or whatever. And I've had excellent results with this. It's like this thing is like as clean as it probably was when it was new now. But like I said, I've done it. I've gone over everything here. I've actually gone over the leatherette and some of the plastic parts with, like I said, with the Armor All. I don't use too much, but I let it do its job. Then I try to gently remove it. And even after that, like I said, I've used I actually have two kinds of metal polish here, this Flitz and that Noxon. And in this case I had a lot of what looked like mold or something on here, and I removed almost all of that. And what I still have in retrospect, I have a few little pits which you may or may not be able to see around the shutter speed dial of corrosion. Well, that's, I'm just going to have to live with that. And maybe some right here, there's a few there, but that's hardly, you know, any problem there. Like I said, in the case of this Pentax, the battery compartment was good. I got brand new batteries in here. This has a test light, and maybe you can see me test it here. I don't know if you can see that. You see that? Battery is good, and in fact this little push button test button was actually sticking, so I actually took a tiny amount of my my vinegar, and I kind of put it on that button and kind of worked it, and it was able to loosen that up. None of that really got inside the camera as far as I know, so that's great. You know, I got a perfectly functioning camera, both of these. In fact, maybe I'll do a little demo of both of these cameras. I can kind of show you maybe the mirror, or not the mirror, I'm sorry, the meter working. I'll just kind of put the camera up to my video camera here, and you'll probably be able to see the meter, and I kind of push the button and you'll see the meter working there. But really that's all there is to it. As like I said, it depends on what kind of shape your camera is in. This could take as little as a half hour. You could take maybe a couple hours. But bottom line, no matter what stuff you use, take your time. This is kind of like a labor of love. I like the fact that I could take something that someone thought was non-working junk and buy something for very little money. And if you shop on eBay, you look at eBay at 35mm cameras, you'll see like a good specimen is really very, very valuable, I would say. I mean, it's not, where these two cameras are excellent, but they're not like, let's say, a Leica M3 or something like that, but they are excellent. They would be excellent user cameras. And if you're like me, since I made that other video, I've actually ordered a lot of stuff on eBay to go with these to make complete outfits. As far as lenses go, cleaning lenses, the only thing I would really recommend is, besides like lightly cleaning or dusting off the optics, you just take maybe your swab with a little bit of that white vinegar if you want to go around the bearing surfaces, and same thing on the camera, like where the lens attaches to the camera, you could lightly go over that. Maybe a little bit with the vinegar on the barrel, outside of the barrel, and then maybe, if it really needs it, your microfiber cloth and maybe a little bit of the lens cleaner. But that's about as far as you would really need to go. In retrospect, this is the lens that came on the Pentax, and I mentioned that the iris was sticking. Well, I don't know if the thing is just corroded or whatever, but in retrospect, I just actually, this is not the one. This is actually one I ordered. I'm sorry. This is one I actually bought off eBay. This is a replacement. It's the same type of lens, same aperture. It's a f2 lens, and I got this for less than $40, and that's including shipping. And this one is in excellent shape. I took the filter off the other one and put it on this one. So this one is like, this is one I'm going to keep. I'm probably going to redonate the other one. Maybe someone else knows how to maybe lubricate it or whatever. But I decided that I want to keep this camera, so I want to get like the best lenses or accessories and things to go with that. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what I would do to a lens. Just a light cleaning of a lens or whatever if it needs it. Okay, I'm just going to kind of give you a kind of a quick demo here, just to show you that everything works on this. And this is the K-mount. Pentax has the K-mount lenses, and they're very easy to put on. You just kind of match the red dots there, and you put them on, and then you just kind of twist it, then you turn the aperture both ways, and it's on. But you can see how nice this looks. It's looks pretty darn nice for something that's like, I don't know, 40 years old now. I think, like I said, I think this goes to like the mid-1970s, this camera. And I've done this before, but you can see I have to undo the shutter lock there. But yeah, sounds good, sounds smooth. Okay, I can just show you real quick. I have the camera set to automatic, and when I push the shutter button down like halfway, the meter will switch on. See that? It's on now. When I let it up, it's off, and it's on again. You can kind of focus through here. See I'm focusing through there. This Pentax K2 does not have a split prism in the middle. That's kind of like maybe the only drawback. Otherwise, I absolutely love this camera. I'll be using this a lot. This would be a nice outdoor camera. Reason why I bought, I could have bought a faster lens. To me, an f2 is probably more than adequate if I'm going to use this a lot outdoors. If I wanted to use it indoors for like existing light photography of people or whatever without a flash, then maybe I'd go to like a f1.4 or something like that. But I have other cameras that I got like a really fast prime lens of like, you know, f1.4 or f1.2. But for this camera, you know, an f2 is like more than adequate, I'd say. And I have more accessories that I bought off eBay that are coming. I have a ever-ready case, a real leather ever-ready case coming. One thing I mentioned about the flash, I had a flash unit, and I thought it was fixable, but it wasn't. The batteries had ruined it. They had leaked, and I bought another one. I got it. I'm not going to show in the video. I don't want this video to get too long. But I was able to get an exact replacement vintage flash that works like perfectly, and it's only like new condition for like less than $20 plus shipping. And I've tested that, and that works. It works great. So I'm happy, more than happy with this, what I have here, and I've decided to invest and get some other accessories that go with it. So that's the Pentax K2 there. All I have, like I said, all I have to do now is replace the light seals, and I'll have a perfectly working and looking, well, pretty good for how old this camera is. Perfectly good camera there. Okay, the next quick demo I'm going to show is my, this is the Nikon FE. And like I said, I did pretty much everything as far as reconditioning, cleaning as I did with the Pentax, although this one was not nearly as bad. I mentioned before that when I bought this camera it didn't have an eyepiece, and I ordered this eyepiece. It's just basically and actually one nice thing about this, I thought this was going to be plastic, but this kind of dark ring is actually rubber, which for me is really nice because I wear eyeglasses most of the time. I wear contact lenses. I used to wear contact lenses for many years, and I still do. Maybe like on the weekends, but my vision, I have to wear like bifocal progressive lenses now. So even if I wear contacts, if I need to do reading or whatever, I have to have reading glasses. But if I wear glasses, I can still use this camera and not worry about damaging my glasses, because if they touch this ring, they're not going to like scratch my eyeglass lenses, because this is rubber, which is really nice. But this was also a case of, I mentioned this in that thrift store, week of thrift store cameras video, I had to thoroughly clean out that viewfinder before I put this eyepiece over, because that viewfinder was awfully dusty and dirty. And now that I've cleaned it out and I put this nice eyepiece on, I don't have to ever worry about that again. This is the same thing. This really was an excellent condition body. There were no scratches or nothing on here. The battery compartment was perfect. This has also kind of it has batteries in it. It has this little test light. Maybe you can see that. Should be lighting, yeah, you can see it light up there. Now this camera has more plastic components, things like the shutter speed dial is actually, the outside is plastic, whereas on the Pentax it's metal. This, I'm not sure, I can't recall if this is plastic here, but this outer ring here, this knurled ring is plastic. That's for setting the your film speed and things like that. And I'm not positive, I'm not sure, I think this is metal, plated metal too, but later models of like the smaller Nikon SLRs, they use more plastic on them. But everything was nice on here. The leatherette, I didn't have to go over the leatherette as much with Armor All as I did the Pentax, and you can see the leatherette is really nice. It's like, and after a while, another drawback maybe of Armor All if you don't want to use too much because it makes it kind of too slippery, but after a while that slipperiness kind of wears off, so you don't have to worry about it. But like I said, this is in excellent shape. I'll do a little demo of the functions with this one. Okay, I took the for the Nikon, I took my I have a f1.4 here that I originally bought for my Nikon F2. This was actually an eBay purchase. I bought the body separately, and then I bought this lens separately. But this lens is more than worthy to this body. Like I said, this is an excellent kind of a second Nikon. I mean, it's not like a professional level like that F2 there, but this body is more than worthy to this lens, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's a nice weight too. It's a little heavy, but it's not like too heavy. It's easy to handle. It would be easy to carry with a strap around your neck or whatever. I mean, it's like really well balanced. And that's a beautiful thing about like a lot of these Nikons. You have such a huge variety of lenses. You can really invest in like the best, I would say the best lenses you can afford as far as condition wise. There's a lot of lenses out there on eBay, but if you're like me, if you're into like, and I'm pretty much into like at this point all different makes of cameras now. I have this Pentax, but now I have like Nikons, and I started out as being kind of a Nikon guy. Now I'm more getting into Canons with that A1, and I just ordered an FTB body, if you know what that is, because I've accumulated some more lenses. And I also have a Minolta SRT 202, I think it is, and I have different lenses for that. And most of the stuff I bought on eBay. But like I said, don't skimp. If you really want to invest in this kind of hobby, by far get the best lenses that you're willing to pay for. Don't get something that's all beat up and scratched up. That might be functional, but then you'll kind of regret it, and you'll end up wanting to buy something that's like cosmetically like mint condition, like I did here. Like I said, I paid pretty much a premium for this compared to what I was browsing for. But anyway, here's just a quick demo here. In this case, for the meter to be on, you have to have the winder open like that for this body, and have that red dot showing. If you have it closed, that kind of locks the release there, so you had to have that off, and that turns on the meter. But so you have that really nice shutter there. And I have it on automatic, that's why it's like pretty slow. You can hear that gap. Maybe if I do it against the wall here. Yeah. I set it to like 1,000th here. There. But I think you get the idea there. Like I said, this is also a case where all I have to do now is the light seals. And I also ordered a case, and I'm going to attach a strap to this. But you know, for what my initial investment of this body for like $30, this is going to be a fantastic shooter here. I'm not going to just put it on a shelf to display or something, or just put it away, as some acquisition that I'm going to hoard or something. I buy my stuff, and I'm going to use this stuff because it's this vintage stuff is so well made, and even if it has been neglected, or left over the years, it's so well made that you can actually rejuvenate it with a minimum of effort and get it working pretty much practically like new again. So I hope you learned something from this video. It probably went a little longer than I intended. But with that, I say thank you for watching, and good luck finding some great deals on vintage cameras and rejuvenating them, fixing them up. Bye for now.